Had to come into the office on a Saturday to help out with some construction. We're wrapping up here and saw my Bryce Underwood jersey on the docket. So, take a look at this bad boy. Ordered a few of them, and I didn't know what size would fit well with me. This is not the one. This is the one that does good. So I've got this extra one, right? Size large, Bryce Underwood jersey. I'm going to give it away. We gave an XL away during the NFL draft. I'm going to give away one to you, a viewer of the show. So pretty good odds, right? Not a ton of people do this. I'm sure we'll have 40, 50, maybe 100 people will do this. But I will pick one on Monday. So all you got to do is share the link to this video on YouTube. You can hit the little share icon right now, have it pop up Twitter, boom. You share the video, the YouTube link on to Twitter. It's pretty simple. And just tag me and the company, at James Yoder, at Chat Sports. I will go and Jack and I will grab every single person who does it, toss them in a little, random generator and pick one winner, which I will announce on Twitter, at James Yoder, on Monday. So go ahead and do that. Share this video on Twitter, and I'll pick one person to get a Bryce Underwood jersey, size large, right? So I'm not going to do custom sizes. Size large is the offering, and I will get your information on Twitter if you're the winner and ship it out to you sometime next week. Let's get going with today's show. Go Blue. Bryce Boys. That's what we call ourselves, Jack. We're the Bryce Boys going forward, all right? I'm not a jersey guy, but I don't know if you saw in the office, Jack, I do have a Rose Bowl and National Championship framed, looking excellent on the walls of our new office and my personal office. Just kind of signifying the best Michigan football season of my lifetime, which we'll talk about here towards the end of the show. But I do want to take a few questions because we left some out on Friday's mailbag. This one coming from Brennan Lewis asking, will Warde Manuel, Mikey Keene, and others be healthy week one? Let's just focus on those two guys because the others is just speculation on nagging injuries or just guys who maybe didn't play in spring ball or something like that. Mikey Keene. So what we know now is that he was getting close to the end of spring practice, didn't want to expose him to shoulder pads and helmets and all that good stuff, but is back to throwing here in, just informal workouts, potentially to do some 7-on-7 and throwing with wide receivers, tight ends, running backs at Schembechler Hall currently, and obviously going through the month of May, June, into July and fall camp at the end of July. So Bryce Underwood left spring practice, which I expect to continue as we get into fall practice. But he left spring practice as the number one quarterback on the depth chart, but didn't have really a ton of competition, right? Davis Warren has been a starting quarterback for this program, beat Ohio State again, beat Alabama, and Mikey Keene has been a starter at multiple programs, Fresno State, Central Michigan, and performed okay against Michigan last year, threw 71% for the season, almost 3,000 yards, 18 touchdowns. I'll throw this out here, Jack. I want to hear your opinion. And maybe what you guys think. This is an audience question that we're going to kind of put a graphic up there. But if Michigan had Mikey Keene last year, are they in the playoffs? Are they a national championship contender, right, based on what we saw last year?
I think there's a conversation argument to be had because I feel like the quarterback play last year was, I love Davis Warren, Alex Orji, all those guys. It was pretty incompetent, though.
It was wild. And we put out on one of the videos last couple of days that, Sherrone Moore, I think, and obviously the offensive staff last year, they have to own that they didn't go and get somebody from the portal or make a huge NIL offer to another freshman if Jadyn Davis wasn't it. But it's something interesting to ponder. I think Mikey Keene, Michigan still probably loses to Texas with him. They may still lose to Oregon. Oh, that game will be closer than what it was. I think they beat Indiana. I think they beat Illinois. Who's the other loss? They definitely beat Washington. I think that's a given, right? So that could have been a 10-2 team. Now maybe the Ohio State game plays differently. Ohio State maybe think they didn't need a ton of offense. We'll see. But I think Michigan's at worst a 9-3 team last year in the regular season, and at best 11-1, potentially more likely 10-2 was how it would have shaken out, and maybe have been made the playoffs. And with the way the defense is playing against Ohio State, against Alabama, they could have made a run to a national championship game, a fourth straight Final Four. The 4-game CFP for 3 years, and then last year, but they didn't, and we'll see. So Mikey Keene back throwing. He will compete for this job. It's not a given that Bryce Underwood will start, but he's got to really take a big step up from where he's been over the last 5 years of his college career to get the nod over maybe the most hyped freshman quarterback maybe in the history of college football, definitely I think in the history of Michigan, since probably Drew Henson back in 1998. We are 524 subscribers away from 35,000, so if you've yet to do so, please hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to the Michigan Football Report, news, rumors, analysis, opinions. I don't hold shots when this program needs to be taken to the woodshed. I also root for them feverishly and furiously at all times. And I think you will enjoy the show if you are just getting in on the action for the first time. Hit that subscribe button. Share with your friends if you like what you see. Let's talk about Warde Manuel. So a few days ago, I think it was Tuesday, shared an injury update showing him running on his Instagram account. Excuse me. And look at that big brace on his left leg, right? First time running in 14 months. Now, prior to spring practice, and then even coming out of spring practice, I didn't change my depth chart. I still have Warde Manuel starting at strong safety, and maybe based on how he comes back, maybe he's going to move to free safety. Maybe he's going to move to nickel. Maybe he's going to be in a different formation or something different with this team. Maybe nickel will suit more what he's capable of doing. But I am starting to fear that Warde Manuel is not going to be ready for the season. I am starting to fear that we might only get a few games out of him, maybe a half season, or this isn't out of the question, I don't think, based on 14 months of not running, right? The season is 3.5 months away. 14 months of running. Is it conceivable? Is it possible that Warde Manuel needs to take an injury redshirt and miss a second straight season? It's not going to help his draft stock, I don't think, if he comes back and is in a limited role and is hesitant and can't be the player that he was. So if he finds that he's 3, 4, 5 games into this 2025 season and he's yet to play and he's not 100% and he's only like 90% or 80%, but it's still like, if you guys, I've had 3 knee surgeries, Jack. I don't know if you knew this about me. There's always something there. If you rush it back, you end up in another surgery. That's kind of what happened to me, like when I was much younger. But I don't know. We'll see if he is back healthy. It just makes me nervous that he's running in May, 13th or whatever it was, 12th, 13th for the first time in 14 months since he tore his ACL outside on the ground. And then we think he's going to be ready for football season. I think that depth chart may get a little shaken up, at least for the opener. And we'll see what happens with Warde Manuel. I don't want to speculate on his health. I hope he's healthy. But that looks like to be a pretty tough timeline to get back in time. Next question we got from Dustin, right? Where am I at? I lost myself. And there we go. Dustin Schlack. After this, he put this on one of the YouTube videos from the last couple of days, and I grabbed it because I thought it was one that I want to answer on the show. So Dustin says, and there was a much longer message here, but the meat of it was they just need to release the text message at this point. That would go a long way in the court of opinion. This is a great idea, and I've heard other people speculate and say this, and I am struggling to figure out why Michigan wouldn't. So if you guys aren't aware, Sherrone Moore, back when the Connor Stalions story first broke in mid-October of 2023, he apparently deleted his text thread, all right? It's not like he's doing some big spy stuff. Oh, I'm going to go to my text. Oh, there's Connor Stalions. Swipe, delete, right? That's probably as far as it went. I don't think he wiped the servers of Apple Cloud or did something diabolical like that. Just wanted it off his phone. I will say this. If one of my friends got pinned for murder, I probably would delete the stuff off my phone too, because it's probably some nefarious stuff on there, right? You make friend jokes with your buddies, et cetera, things that I don't think most people would want in the greater light of day, right? If you found some of the text threads I had from my friends over the years, especially coming in and out of bachelor parties and weddings or dudes weekends, it's just the 7 gates of hell, right? No one wants that stuff exposed. So maybe that's what Sherrone Moore had going on. I'm not sure. But if there's nothing there, I think they're going to come to light eventually, right? And I can't imagine Sherrone Moore, the OC, is saying anything too silly or too funny with Connor Stalions. But you never know. But if they want to win the court of public opinion, if they say, okay, hey, the NCAA is just coming after Sherrone Moore because he swiped right and deleted his text thread from there, and there's nothing else, right? They don't have a hard drive that he was involved in paying guys to go spy on games or anything like that, then this would help a lot. There would be a lot of pressure on the NCAA. It's you're going to suspend a major college football coach for that? For just normal text messages? So if there's nothing there, I implore Warde Manuel, I implore Sherrone Moore, his representatives, the representatives of the school, to go ahead and release those text messages. It would do a lot for the court of public opinion when it comes to Michigan. I think maybe put some pressure on the NCAA with this hearing coming up in about 3 weeks in the June 6th, June 7th timeline. Coming up, I am going to talk about the best 10 games. I saw this on Twitter and I had to answer it myself. I'm going to talk to you guys about it here on YouTube. The best 10 Michigan games of my life. And there's something I'm so excited to tell you guys about right now, though, before we get there. And that's Factor. They are back sponsoring the Michigan Football Report all spring long. Make this your best season yet with nutritious 2-minute meals from Factor. Eating well has never been this easy. You just heat up and enjoy, giving you more time to do what you want. It's nice outside, right? It's the spring. It's wonderful. Get outside instead of prepping and cooking indoors. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat perfect for any active lifestyle. With 45 menu options, you can pick gourmet meals that fit your goals. Choose from Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. I love eating Factor, and I'll say this, right? I have a live-in chef, Jack, at my house, so I don't always eat Factor, right? When she travels to work, which is frequent, I always get Factor. But if I was in my 20s and 30s, gosh, this would be like a dream for me, right? Getting freshly, easy to prepare gourmet meals delivered to my house. I pop in, I put them in the freezer, I put them in the fridge, and then I toss them in the microwave. Eating healthy, you feel better, you look better, and you're eating a lot better. You're going to be a lot healthier. And you can get started with Factor meals by getting 50% off your first box plus free shipping by using code MichiganChat50off at factormeals.com/MichiganChat50off. It's right there on the screen. Factormeals.com/MichiganChat50off. Use that code MichiganChat50off. 50% off your first box plus free shipping. The link is down in the description and in the comments of today's video. You see a pinned comment right below the video? I'm going to reply to that with the link and code for Factor. Get going with Factor. I love them. Jack loves them. You will love them too. Factormeals.com/MichiganChat50off. All right, question coming in from Dave J02. He says, I saw your tweet about favorite Michigan games. Can you share why you picked those? So let's go. I'm not going to show the tweet because it wouldn't fit and be tough to read on the screen, but we put them on a little graphic here. Let me kind of go over them one by one. And Jack, if you want to mix it up and come to me at all, I'm going to kind of take a minute to describe all these. So number one is the national title game, right? I think all in, because it didn't turn out to be like a last-second win, or Michigan hadn't lost like 3 years in a row to Washington in the playoffs. It was like this emotional one. I could make an argument that wasn't number one for me, but it is number one just for the reason of they won the national championship. And it was a culmination for me of 4 years of beating the drum on this show where this program should be, beat Ohio State again. And we said Houston or bust, right? This was in Houston. Jack was there. The film's on there. If you guys want to go back to January 8th last year, Jack went live and had me on camera for like 25 minutes live on YouTube. Just hit that live tab on this channel. Go back to January. It's probably only a few videos back. We haven't done a ton of live since then. And you saw the emotion, right? I cried tears of joy. I was so happy. So it really wasn't until the game was over that you felt it, but yeah, it's got to be the one. Other than that, part of that, go back to Ohio State 2021, right? 7 straight losses, 8 straight losses, 9 seasons with the 2020 game of not beating Ohio State. And you felt that if you didn't get it this year with what had been going on, like, when are we going to get it, right? Now, it turned out, when are they going to lose, right? Knock on wood, hopefully never to Ohio State. But that one was, I think, this hump that this program had to get over and kind of stomp out big bad Ohio State and really given the confidence. Now, Michigan goes in these games now with confidence we can win. It's Ohio State that are kind of hesitant, right? They're afraid to go for it on 4th and 2 from the 39-yard line because they don't want to lose again. They don't want to make mistakes. They're playing not to lose. Michigan is playing to win. That game over the top. I was so happy that game. I spent like $3,500. Me and the old producer of the show, Jeremy Chugs, we got on a plane 3 hours after the game. He almost missed it. I bribed a gate agent, Jack, $100. I shit you not, the story's legendary, to hold the plane up for 10 minutes because Jeremy had to go home and get his dog. He was waiting in security, yada, yada, yada. We painted the town red, got on a flight the next morning, and came back to Dallas. 2023 season also, the Bama, Alabama, Michigan, one of the best games. I went to that game, spent a lot of money going out there with the family, took my son to it. We'll never forget that game. Ohio State 2022, I put above 2023 and 2024 because that Ohio State team, I think, was the best of the last 4 years. Right? I think they were much better than this 2024 national championship team. It was at home where Michigan hadn't won in 22 years at that point, and the way they did it by just absolutely putting their foot on the neck and just stomping Ohio State out in the fourth quarter, 75 yards, 85 yards, the Don, multiple interceptions of C.J. Stroud. That one was the most surprising, at least at the time. I think 2024 ended up maybe being more surprising. 2024 is up there. Now, how is it better than the 2023 game for me? I just think it's the fact that you got the win against their national championship team in such an unlikely fashion that no one thought Michigan was going to win that game, 20-point underdogs, that it just is like, got them, right? Got there. Right below that, the 2023 game for obvious reasons. Going back to there. So I'm maybe recency biased, but I do think that, this team, because 97 was like a 4-loss team in 95, a 4-loss team in 96, and then boom, you win the national championship. There wasn't this long buildup like there was with the Harbaugh years and losing in the playoffs back-to-back years and the disappointment of TCU. So you go back to 2023 Ohio State, it's a little bit, that was an expected win, right? These other ones weren't nearly as expected, right? I think frankly, the other 3 Ohio State games on that list above it, none of them were expected, right? Michigan was expected to lose all 3 of those, and they won. We'll go back to 2006, right? This is one of my favorite. Turned out to be an amazing season for Michigan, the 1-2 versus Ohio State, and Michigan went into number 2 Notre Dame, I think the second or third week of the year, and absolutely blew them off the field, dropped like 47 points on Notre Dame, and you started to feel that, hey, bad 2005 season for this team. You thought they were going to be good that year. They weren't. A lot of injuries. And this is a team that has a chance to win a national championship. Came and be a play away from playing in the national title game, losing the final game to Ohio State 42-39. Go back to 1997 Ohio State game for obvious reasons. Charles Woodson, punt return, touchdown. Michigan goes undefeated. At that point, 12-0, 11-0 at that point. For the first time in around 20 years that they had a full undefeated season with no ties, right? There was the 92 season in there with some ties, undefeated season, but it had been a while. 97 Penn State, Judgment Day. Number 1 Penn State, number 4 Michigan. Michigan goes in there, wins like 37-8. And that's when everyone knew in the country. That was like week 8 or 9 that Michigan was for real. And then the national championship Rose Bowl against Washington State. A little setback there because it wasn't as big of a deal as national titles have become lately. And I think most Michigan fans, I was in my teens at the time, most Michigan fans expected to beat Washington State. It's not like it was 1 versus 2. I think Washington State was ranked like number 8. They just happened to be the Pac-12 champion. Others a consideration for me, and I might be missing some. I really was thinking about this, like, when did I cheer the loudest? When did I hug strangers? When did I cry tears of joy? When did I spend outrageous amounts of money to celebrate? That was that list. Other ones in here, thinking back to childhood, 95, 96, Ohio State games, very similar to like 2021 and 22, right? Ohio State ranked number 2 in both those. Michigan was not nearly as good as a team as they were these past few years and got the wins, big-time upset wins, led to a national title in 97. 2008-18 Michigan State, right? Some people forget about that. But remember, Jim Harbaugh hadn't won a road game against a ranked team, and this was season 4, and that was a big milestone for that team to get over. I remember being super pumped about that one after they lost that game in 2017. That was an absolute disaster, of course, and the 2015 game, which we can never forget and hopefully never talk about again. Continue on, 2005, Penn State. Last second play, Mario Manningham touchdown against a team that I believe was ranked number 2 at the time, was their only loss of the season. Lloyd Carr's last game beat the Tebow and Urban-led Florida team in the bowl game in 2007. 2023, Penn State, right? Jim Harbaugh got suspended 20 hours before the game, 33 straight runs. Michigan beats Penn State on the road, keep the undefeated season alive. 99 Penn State, right? Down 10. I think I was on the road. I'm pretty sure it was on the road. Tom Brady, 2 touchdowns in the last 7 minutes of the game to get that one against a number 2 ranked Penn State then. 99 Alabama, Michigan down 14 twice, Jack. Down 14-0, down 28-14. Tom Brady comes in, leads them to a tie ball game, and then they go into overtime. Michigan scores, and I think the first play, Alabama scores. 2 plays later, missed the extra point. Michigan gets the win against Alabama in the Orange Bowl. 97 Colorado, they were ranked in the top 10. Michigan beat them like 27-3, first game or 2 of the year. 2001 Washington, field goal at time expired. And then 2011 Notre Dame, the first night game in the history of Michigan Stadium. One of the great comebacks in the history of this program, down 17 points in the 4th quarter. Those are my top 10. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 more games. So top 21 games of that I could think of. I'm sure I'm missing one. I just thought to myself, hey, that 94 Notre Dame game was kind of crazy. Remy Hamilton walk-off field goal. Can never forget that one. So those are mine based on excitement. Comments yours, right? If you want to take a minute, I would really appreciate to hear from you guys, right? For those of you a little older than me, you might have games in the 80s and the 70s. For those of you younger, you might be thinking like, oh, wow, that 2015 BYU game was amazing. I'd love to hear your 5 or 10 or 21 if you want. But listen down below and maybe even some explanation. There is not a character limit. You can comment on YouTube as many times as you want. Robert Smith's got a question. Is it time to run an honorable program like Bo did and who had a winning record versus Woody and get a new coach? Now, Robert, you look a little, a few years older than me, maybe up here in the years, so I don't want to say boomer. Love you, appreciate the question, but the game has changed, right? And Michigan always tried to perceive themselves as like the program that does it right. And I can see what you're saying. Is there a stain on the program right now? And it got me to think about this. Like, you hear it on social media, like, oh, the hammer's coming, Harbaugh, Michigan cheated. But is that the real perception of the wide sports universe? And I kind of think like, do normal people think Michigan's a dirty program? And I don't know the answer, right? And I'm just so much general sports fans, casual college football fans. I'm sure the diehard Ohio State and Notre Dame, they're like, oh, you guys cheated. But Michigan fans think Ohio State's a dirty program. They think Alabama's a dirty program. They think Georgia and Clemson and probably Miami and USC, especially under Pete Carroll, and even Oklahoma, hell, Texas sometimes. I'm not sure. Texas kind of perceives themselves like a Michigan, like, oh, we're too good for all this stuff. But it's kind of weird. I mean, I don't know the answer there. I was surprised. We live in Dallas, and this story is not something that even like big-time football fans think about, care about, even know about. I was surprised when the Connor Stalions thing came out last year, how many men, like friends of my son, fathers of my son's friends, etc., who follow football, follow sports, are right on top of it, were like, oh man, I saw this documentary about this guy at Michigan. That was the thing last year, right? Like, they didn't, Connor Stalions wasn't a name that like came off the top of their head. Like, it is not as big of a story nationwide, and it's not, as like, oh my God, this is like this big scandal for people outside of a small footprint in the Midwest. I don't think so. But let me just kind of, before I give some more thoughts on this, ask you guys this question. Do non-Michigan football fans, right? You might be talking to Michigan football fans, like, hey, you see that thing? I'm going to suspend Sherrone. But do non-Michigan football fans, casual fans, fans of other Ohio State, Michigan State, if you live in the state of Michigan, Indiana, if you live in Notre Dame, etc. Do non-Michigan fans bring this up to you in real life? Not talking on social media, in real life. The Connor Stalions, Spygate, what's going on right now, NCAA, meeting in 3 weeks from now. Give me a yes, they do, and tell me why. Or if they don't, like me, no one in real life honestly does. Give me a no. So I don't know. I hope Michigan's not perceived as a dirty program. I do think, over the years, they've probably done it cleaner. And you could probably make an argument that the best way to kind of, prove Michigan's a cleaner program is when the cheating of paying players and getting guys to transfer under the table by giving them money and all this different stuff, when all that became above board, who became a better program, right? Michigan, right? When they're not going to break the rules, right? Alabama and Ohio State can't get an advantage by paying guys when other schools can't or won't. And so all of a sudden, that stuff's all legal. Who's won the most conference titles in college football? Michigan with 3. Who has won a national championship? Who has beat number 2 ranked team 4 straight years? That's Michigan, right? Nobody else has kind of done all those things. The only one who could have an argument was Georgia with 2 national championships, but they've only beat Alabama 1 time during the last 4 years in this NIL era. So I don't necessarily think Michigan's a dirty program. I don't think they should be perceived dirty, but on Twitter they certainly are perceived dirty. On Facebook they're a dirty program. On the YouTube comments they're a dirty program. But I think in real life most college football fans have already forgotten about Connor Stalions, and they're just worrying about what Michigan does on the football field. Reminder, Bryce Underwood jersey, I'm going to give it away on Monday on Twitter. Hit that share icon, or if you're watching, grab that link out of your browser, copy it, go over to Twitter and say, watch today's Michigan Football Report. Whatever you want to type, tag James Yoder, tag the company Chat Sports, and boom, you will be in there, and we'll do a quick drawing and pick one and get it out to you early next week. Till I see you guys next week. Enjoy your weekend. Go Blue.